Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everybody else, welcome to this week's Access Arts Live roundup of organ live stream action from all over the world. We have organ recitals from Cornwall and Oxford in England, from San Diego, California, and Paris, France, from Massachusetts and from Moscow, and they're and more, and they're all free of charge. They're solo recitals. They are four-handers. They are organ concerts accompanied by oboe and voice. There's one devoted to Mary, the Mother of God, a very spiritual concert on the weekend. All of these free of charge for you to enjoy. What could be better? So before we get started, let me remind you, if you're watching this video on Facebook, please like it. If you're watching on any of our other 6 platforms, please subscribe to and or follow Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, or LinkedIn, so you will continue to receive more than 1,000 live links to live performances every week, including many organ recitals almost every day of the week. So let's move on then and start talking about these various lovely organists that you see before you in that photo that I have up now. But let's move on to the first of them, which is a family duo. The Denis Makhankov and Dina Ikhina, organist, duettist, you could call them, I guess, or organ duo. Wednesday, July 9th, Artbene live streams organist Dina Ikhina and Denis Makhankov. There, that's pronounced correctly. Let me try that again. Wednesday, July 9th, Artbene live streams organist Dina Ikhina and Denis Makhankov playing four-handers by Bach, Buxtehude, Dvorak, Muffat, J.C. Bach, J.S. Bach, Zweiling, and Olivier. Yeah, that was a mouthful. These are Dina Ikhina and Denis Makhankov. They have been playing together for over a decade now. Dina was born in 1986. Denis was born in 1988. Dina's from Saratov, Russia. Denis is from Ivanova, but they both studied organ music in St. Petersburg under a well-known Russian Federation professional Zaretsky. And then later they studied harpsichord, and they got postgraduate degrees in music, both of them, at the St. Petersburg Conservatory. So they're a very interesting group, because when I started looking at them to research them, I kept running across concerts which they had done in other countries, in Iceland and in Finland. And apparently they have a great interest in promoting organ concerts and organ festivals in the Karelia region, which, if you know a little bit about the history of Finland and Russia and the Nordic region, has changed hands between Finland and Russia, and then been divided between them at different times over the last couple hundred years. So they are a very forward, outward-looking pair that's performed a lot of concerts in different European cities, as well as around Russia. And they both teach now at the conservatory where they went to school, the St. Petersburg Rimsky-Korsakov Conservatory. So let me tell you what they're going to be playing. They're playing music by Bach, Johann Sebastian Bach, and also by his son, Johann Christian Bach. So they'll start out with but they're starting out with Dvorak. They're starting out with Dvorak's Slavonic Dance No. 1, Opus 46, arranged for organ duet. You know, the Slavonic dances that Dvorak composed in 1878 or published in 1870, they were a huge, enormous hit all across Europe. They were so popular that there was a quartet, I think the Fiorentini Quartet from Italy, which asked Dvorak to compose a string quartet for them to play called the Slavonic String Quartet to capitalize on the commercial success of the Slavonic dancers. Okay, anyway, but that's neither here nor there. But then they'll do Georg Muffat's Passacaglia, Johann Christian Bach's Sonata for piano, 4 hands in A major, just the first movement. Then by Johann Sebastian Bach from the Art of the Fugue, they'll do Counterpoint 11, arranged as an organ duet. Then they'll do Bach's Fugue in E minor, Sweelinck's Chromatic Fantasy, Buxtehude's Prelude in G minor, and then the Scherzo and Adagio from Louis Vian's Symphony No. 6. So it's a wide-ranging kind of concert from very early organ pieces to very modern. And some of those pieces, we are told, will not be played by 4 hands. There will be a couple of solos, I believe, in that program. But it does sound like a lovely program to enjoy. Live stream free of charge from the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow by Artbene, if I am not mistaken about that. And I am not mistaken about that. We then move from there to from Moscow to Massachusetts. Excuse me for sneezing there. Where we have very, very top-level American organist performing. Wednesday evening, Eastern Daylight Time, July 9th, Daniel Aune, coordinator of organ studies at the Peabody Institute of Johns Hopkins University, will play a musical journey from Germany to France, from Bach to Charles Marie Widor on the Methuen Great Organ. That's at the Methuen Memorial Music Hall, one of perhaps the only music hall which was built to suit the specifications of the organ rather than vice versa. Back in the 1890s, when the organ was taken out of storage and they wanted to start using it again, and they brought in a famous architect to design the hall for it. But it's not the same organ, though, because an Aeolian Skinner organ was put in later on. Anyway, the Peabody Institute at Johns Hopkins is the oldest music conservatory in the continental United States. And Daniel Aune is coordinating organ studies at there, so he's a big cheese there. He's also director of music and organist at Christ Lutheran Church in Baltimore, so he has his hand in playing regularly. His bio mentions recent orchestral and chamber collaborations, including Handel's Organ Concerto in B-flat major, Reinberger's Organ Concerto in F major, and the magnificent Saint-Saëns Symphony No. 3 for organ and orchestra, which just kills me every time I hear it. Anyway, what's he going to be playing? He's going to be playing Max Reger's Intro and Passacaglia in D minor, Bach's Arioso, as arranged by the legendary Virgil Fox from Riverside Church in New York, Mendelssohn's Allegro Chorale and Fugue, MWVW 33, Justin Heinrich Knecht's choral prelude on Nun danket alle Gott, then Karl Puti's Fest Hymnus, Opus 20, and then there's an intermission. And I'm not sure how this is getting us from Germany to France yet, but in the second half of the concert, it's all French composers. Lefebvre Verdi's Bolero de Concert, and he was first half of the 19th century. And then Joseph Bonnet's Concert Variations, Opus 1, Josephine Boulab's Andante from her Trois Pièces, 3 pieces, and finishing up with the finale from the Symphony No. 6, Opus 42, No. 2 of Charles Marie Widor. As I said, that organ was rebuilt by Aeolian Skinner in 1947, so it's not exactly the same organ that the music hall was built for. And I'm not sure what is the exact correspondence between the Aeolian Skinner organ and the previous organ, whether they were trying to maintain the same tonality. Anyway, it has 4 manuals, 5 divisions, 86 stops, 116 ranks, and 6,088 pipes. So This is top organist Daniel Aune playing a sophisticated concert for you with an intermission, so it's a full-length concert on a magnificent organ. What more do you want? And then we move back over to the other side of the pond to hear a top organist in the UK. John Keys. If I can get his picture up for you. Doesn't he look the commanding figure? Thursday, July 10th, Truro Cathedral live streams John Keys, long-standing organist at St. Mary's Church, Nottingham, playing Charles Villiers Stanford, Percy Whitlock, Eugène Gigoux, and Charles Marie Vidor on the Father Willis organ. So that's another concert this week with Charles Marie Vidor coming up. Who is John Keys? Well, I told you that he been playing at this church. He's been playing there, I think, since the 1980s. So he's an institution. Yeah, 1984, 42 years. He is an honorary fellow of the Guild of Church Musicians. He's also the city organist for the city of Nottingham and the organist for Nottingham University. And he's played all over Europe and the US and Australia. He's appeared as an organist, accompanist, continuo player, and conductor on Radio Suisse Romande, on the Netherlands radio, Radio France, the French radio, and the BBC. So he'll be playing Charles Villiers Stanford's Marcia Eroica, then Percy Whitlock's Dolcezza, Reflections, then Eugène Gigoux's Menuetto, and Charles Marie Vidor's entire Organ Symphony No. 5. That should be a lovely concert at Truro Cathedral, way up there in Cornwall. And I'm pretty sure that's the organ which is the equivalent of the organ that was built for Coventry Cathedral. But then we move on from there back to Moscow for another concert coming out of Moscow, I believe. I believe that's what we have up next. Yes. Friday, July 11th, organist Tatiana Andrianova invites oboist Mikhail Stamko and soprano Ekaterina Liberova to play and sing Vivaldi, Bach, Scarlatti, Telemann, Schumann, Louis Vierne, and more. It's billed as a romantic evening by Candlelight, live streamed by Artbene, again, free of charge, from the Roman Catholic Cathedral in Moscow. Tatiana Andrianova, she learned her organ back in the 1990s at the Moscow Conservatory, as well as harpsichord and historic Russian music. And since, for the last 25 years, she's been the accompanist and organist in the academic choir of the Russian State Music, Television, and Radio Center. So she's been at the heart of the Moscow music scene. She also plays with the chamber choir of the Moscow Conservatory and the Moscow State University Chamber Orchestra. So she knows what she's doing. She has brought in Mikhail, Mikhail, or Mikhail Stamko, I don't speak Russian, the oboist, who plays with the chamber orchestra, the Moscow Virtuosi. And he also plays with the Studio for New Music Ensemble, and is a member of the Association of Contemporary Music section of the Union of Composers of Russia. So he's also a composer. And Ekaterina Liberova, I don't have a lot of background information about her, but I do know that she sings regularly at the Roman Catholic Cathedral. She joined Tatiana at a concert in December, a Christmas concert, which was live streamed. We told you about it. And again, in another live stream on June 18th, which was where the organ was played by that couple, Vetlugina and Maximento. So, and she is a soloist and has been for a decade or so with the early music ensemble Divina Commedia. So this is a concert of spiritual arias and contemplative music or contemplative music for the organ. Bach's Prelude and Fugue in G major, but then they play Christoph Graupner's aria Sighs and Weeping from his cantata God and Lord. Vivaldi's sonata in G minor for oboe and organ. Scarlatti's aria War Trumpets from the oratorio Judith. Telemann's Fantasy in B flat major for solo oboe. Another Bach aria from the cantata Wer nur den lieben Gott lässt walten, which means who lets himself be led by the beloved God, of course. For soprano, oboe, and organ. 2 songs for soprano and organ by Max Reger. Schumann duet for oboe and organ. Reinberger's Evening Song for oboe and organ. And Louis Viern's the finale from his Organ Symphony No. 1 on the organ. So usually at these Roman Catholic cathedral concerts, when the organ invites others in, there will still be repeatedly at the beginning and the end and in the middle of the concert solo organ pieces. So it really is an organ concert. If you're an organ lover, I don't think you'll be disappointed, but you don't have to be an organ lover to enjoy this kind of concert. Let's see what we have coming up next, which I think will probably be a concert on, no, that'll be also on Friday. It'll be later in the evening, Friday evening. I don't know if I properly gave you the time. Let me back up just for a second. The time of that Friday, July 11th organ concert from Moscow it will be at 8 o'clock European time, 2 o'clock in the afternoon on the East Coast, and 11 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast, because it's at 9 o'clock in the evening in Moscow, Friday, July 11th. Also on Friday, July 11th, St. Paul's Episcopal Cathedral in San Diego on Friday, July 11th, live streams its weekly organ recital with the articulate and ever engaging and interesting Canon Martin Green, playing the organ with the longest history in the San Diego area. It's an Aeolian Skinner album organ, which was then rebuilt by Quimby pipe organs a decade ago. That'll be at 1 o'clock in the afternoon in San Diego, which is 4 o'clock on the East Coast in the US, 10 o'clock in the evening in Europe. We don't know what Martinus Green's going to play, but he always plays an interesting mix of older and newer and American and European composers, and gives excellent explanations of why he's playing what and what's interesting about it musically. Not so much musicologically, but musically, so everyone can understand. That organ has 4 manuals, 98 stops, 86 ranks, 115 draw knobs, and 4,933 pipes. Not bad. Then on Saturday, there is yet another Artbene live stream going on. But this one is a solo organ recital. Saturday, July 12th, Artbene live streams organist Yulia Glazkova of the St. Petersburg State Conservatory playing De Grigny, Bach, Frescobaldi, Longley, Messiaen, Marcel Dupré, and Jean Alain. It's a heavily French concert. That'll be at 7 in the evening on Saturday in Europe, 1 p.m. your Saturday afternoon on the East Coast, and 10 in the morning out on the West Coast in LA. Yulia Glazkova is the Associate Professor of Organ and Harpsichord at the St. Petersburg State Conservatory. This concert is featuring variations by various composers on the theme of hymns to the Virgin Mary, like Ave Maristella and Messiaens, the Virgin and the Child. I can tell you the specifics of what she's playing. She's playing De Grigny's hymn Ave Maristella, composed in 1699 to kick things off. Bach's choral prelude, Schmucke dico liebe Seele, I adore you, my beloved soul. I'm not sure what that has to do with it. A Bach toccata, adagio, and fugue in C major, BWV 564. A Bach pastoral, BWV 590 in 4 parts. Then Frescobaldi's hymn, Ave Maristella, from Book 2 of his toccatas. Jean Langlay's epilogue on a theme of Frescobaldi, which is for solo pedals. And I wonder if it's connected with the Ave Maristella hymn by Frescobaldi. We're not told. Then Messiaen's work, The Virgin and the Child, which is part number 1 of the cycle, The Nativity of the Lord. Marcel Dupre's Cortesian Litanies, Opus 19, number 2, and she finishes up with Jean Alain's Litanies, AWV 100. So it's likely to be a very spiritual concert. If you have a mind to hear about hymns to the Virgin Mary and the Mother of God, as it's put in the program notes, this is for you. After that, on Sunday, we move on to Paris for a, here's an interesting concert. There, that's François Olivier on a boat. He's an organist, but you see a picture of him there on a boat. Because that's the way they're doing it these days at St. Eustache Church in the heart of Paris. Sunday, July 13th, St. Eustache Church in Paris live streams its longtime resident choir organist, François Olivier, playing Bach, César Franck, and Charles-Marie Widor. That's at 5 o'clock European time in the heart of Paris. It's every Sunday at 5 o'clock, and they get hundreds of people there. They get more people attending that one concert than some churches get in a whole year. But they're also in Moscow. They also love the concerts at the Roman Catholic Cathedral. Anyway, François Olivier has been there since 2004 at St. Eustache Church, a decade longer than the other 2 resident main organists there, which means he was there for a decade during the last period of Jean Guillou, the almost legendary organist who was the head organist there until 2015 or 2014. He'll be playing Bach's Prelude and Fugue in A minor, BWV 543, Bach's Sonata in Trio in C minor, BWV 526, César Franck's Pièce Héroïque, Heroic Piece, Bach's Sinfonia, which is an extract from the cantata BWV 29. Back in the days of Bach, Sinfonia, a symphony, was the way you referred to an instrumental segment within a cantata, which was largely sung. It wasn't a symphony. And then he will finish up with Charles-Marie Widor's toccata from the Symphony number 5 in F minor, Opus 42, number 1. A very, very classic Sunday evening or afternoon concert. If you want to know more about the Vanden Heuvel organ there, which has 101 stops, 5 manuals, and 7,952 pipes, making it just about as big as the organ which Notre Dame Cathedral brags of having. You can go to our YouTube channel, and in the interview section, this 35-minute interview I did with Thomas Hospital, one of the other resident organists at the church, telling you everything you might want to know about that organ and the architecture of the church, and and how the 2 go together, which was a learning experience for me. Should have been obvious, but it wasn't. Anyway, we finish up now with a live stream, which will be from up in Cornwall. Do I have the guy's picture? I'm looking, and I'm not seeing the picture of the organist. I should have a photograph of Paul Gousseau. And I do. There it is. It's important because I'm not able to tell you what he's playing, so I would like to at least show you a photograph of Paul Gousseau. Sunday, July 6th, Ely Cathedral live streams French organist Paul Gousseau from Bordeaux and from Switzerland on the keyboards of the cathedral's venerable Harrison organ. Paul Gousseau is a 42-year-old professor at the Haute École de Musique of Geneva. I don't know how you call that. Haute École literally means high school, but it's like advanced school of music in Geneva, Switzerland, where he teaches continuo and improvisation. And he also teaches organ at the conservatory in Rueil-Malmaison, which is in France. He's also an award-winning improviser. And in Paris, he will, from time to time, accompany screenings of silent films at the Musée d'Orsay, or he's also done that in Lyon and in Toulouse, and gives master classes and workshops especially in improvisation at the Paris Conservatory and elsewhere. So that Harrison organ was built in 1908, restored by Harrison in 74, 75, and then extensively restored again about 25 years ago in 1999 and 2001. So it's a pure Harrison organ. And unfortunately, we are not told what specific music Paul Gousseau is going to be playing, but I'd make an even bet that he will probably do some improvisations on that Harrison organ, which he's given a chance to play with. I hope that some or any of these organ live streams inspire you, uplift you, or just show you a heck of a good time. And before I go, I need to again remind you, if you're watching this on Facebook, please like the video. If you're watching us on any of our other 6 platforms, please subscribe to and or follow Access Arts Live on YouTube, X, TikTok, Instagram, Threads, and or LinkedIn to get all the news every week about all of the live streams of organ recitals going on all over the world. Thanks for tuning in. I will be back in just about 90 minutes at 7 o'clock European time, 1 o'clock on the East Coast, and 10 o'clock in the morning on the West Coast with a special edition roundup specifically of the chamber music concerts, which are being live streamed this week by 2 chamber music festivals, which will be going on all through the month of July. That's the Bowdoin International Music Festival in Maine, and the upper northern corner of the East Coast of the U.S., and the Seattle Chamber Music Festival out in Seattle, Washington, at the other end of the northwestern corner of the U.S. There are 7 or 8 live streams coming up from them this week. They're fascinating. I want to give you a lot of detail about them. So I'll be back in about an hour and a half to do that live stream. In the meantime, I hope you enjoyed this one. And I will see you again soon, if you like.